Hello and welcome back to PJSN. I am Boston Harding here with Coleman Keel, and we are here for today's coverage of the Pleasant Grove Vikings going against the Timpview Thunderbirds. Coming into today's match, the Thunderbirds going in 8-6, being 3-2 in region. Vikings coming into it 8-8 with an even record, 4-0 in region. Vikings ranked 14th in the state, while the Thunderbirds are ranked 39th. So, not with the overall record. The Thunderbirds have them beat there with 2 less losses on their record, but Vikings do have the Thunderbirds beat out in the region as well as in the state rankings.
And I spoke with Marley Vaya prior to the game today. She said that the team was feeling confident and ready for this game. Didn't go too far into what that means, but I think it's going to mean good things today for the Vikings.
Looking at the Vikings side on the court, for the starters, we have number 11, Marley Vaya, number 8, Marley McCandless, number 7, Molly Mitchell, number 13, Caitlin Stalder, number 24, Olivia Walsh, and number 17, Lexi Brown, as the first serve of the game goes to Timpview, as number 17, Mia Sanders, gets an ace. Mia coming back to the line. Received by Lexi Brown to the left side, Olivia Marsh. Lexi Brown, Marley Vaya, light top over to the right side, another light top over from the Thunderbirds, and Molly Mitchell unable to make the play there.
Miscommunication on who the set was going to. 2 Vikings went for it, both bailing, thinking the other had it. Ends up hitting the hardwood, point for the Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds taking an early 2-0 lead, as showing great potential from these first two points, as that one hit from number 31, Lavia Airy, goes out of bounds on the right end, bringing Vikings their first point, now 1-2. As number 7 Molly Mitchell will take the serve. One tap over from Olivia Marsh brings a tie game now 2-2. Hard smack gets tipped off of Tatum Nelson, and Marley Vaya cannot make a play on the ball. Brings the Thunderbirds another point, 3-2.
We talked about it last time that I was with you. Tatum Nelson up front for the Vikings, 6'6", a huge issue for other teams, just causing all sorts of errors, needing other teams feeling like they need to hit it higher to get it over her hands. As a kicking save attempt by Marley Vaya sails into the Viking stands, gives the Thunderbirds another point. Going back to what I was talking about, Tatum Nelson and Marley Vaya up front, two tall women for the Vikings, both with great verticals, both able to cause issues for other teams on the spike. We'll see how well the Thunderbirds can adapt.
As that serve soars up and out, gives a Vikings point as they trail by 1, 3-4. I'll bring number 19, Dixie Warner, to the line for a serve. Received to the right side, wide tap over to the middle. Tatum Nelson, quick hit, goes up and out. Looked like it got tipped, but did not. Thunderbirds take a 2-point lead now. As to the line, number 33, Isabella Baldwin. That one from Olivia Marsh sails over. Hard smack, but nowhere near the back line.
Olivia Marsh, not a name we've called much this year. A senior, part of the team that made it second place in state last year. A lot of experience, a lot of great potential, just on those spikes, needing just to hit it a little bit down more. And it'll go from sailing out to hitting in the back corner, just being a deadly spike for the Vikings.
As Olivia Marsh's serve will also go over that back line, brings Thunderbirds a point, now 4-7.
Now in for the Vikings comes Kellen Acera for Olivia Marsh. Another name we haven't called this year, just a sophomore.
As Lavia Elry comes back to the line for the Thunderbirds as they take a 4-point lead, 4-8. Tatum Nelson on the right gets blocked, but one tap over as Tatum gets out of the way, thinking that someone behind her had that, cannot make the play. 4-9 as Vikings take the first timeout. Obviously a bit shaken up and struggling. Coming back from that. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I was going to say the exact same thing as the Thunderbirds serve. Hard hit from the Vikings. Alexi Brown gives the Vikings a point and cuts it down to 4. making it 9-5 for the Vikings, and sends Caitlin Stalder to the line to serve. We talked about it earlier, or I guess I talked about it earlier. Tatum Nelson being a huge advantage for the Vikings. You saw it on that block spike. She goes up and gets her spike blocked and can immediately just hit it back down, because standing reach, she can get her palm over the net, as a blocked spike by the Vikings gives the Thunderbirds another point. Bouncing in front of Kellen Acera on the diving attempt, number 23 for the Vikings. As another unappreciated part of this year's team is that there's a good mix of sophomores playing varsity for the Vikings. Marley McCandless, Dixie Warner, and Kellen Acera, all sophomores, as Lexi Brown's spike goes right into the net. There, for the Vikings, there is a lot of promise in the team, as you can use the seniors on the team to teach the sophomores and hopefully get back and maybe even win state in the next few years. As an ace for the Thunderbirds makes it 12-5. Vikings down by 7. As Tiani Peterson, another sophomore, coming into the game. As another spike into the net for the Vikings on an unlucky streak, usually consistent with their spikes, even when they do hit the net, usually managing to get it to fall over, as Laylee Julander on the serve for the Thunderbirds. Diving save by Caitlin Stalder. Hard spike hit at the net for the Thunderbirds. Molly Mitchell on the send for the Vikings. Hard spike into the net again. Vikings unable to get the offense going in the first set. Just unfortunate, and now 19 points total into the rally. The Vikings have already burnt both of their timeouts, 14-5 in the first set. Back now from the Viking timeout. Hopefully the adjustments that they made will help them get back in this one, down by 9, as Laylee Julander to serve for the Thunderbirds. Hard spike again into the net off of the hand of Lexi Brown for the Vikings, as now Addie Pace comes in. Another sophomore for the Vikings. What do you think the methodology behind putting in so many sophomores down by 10 is for the Vikings?
I think that they're obviously seeing that some of their more experienced players, as in Lexi Brown and Molly Mitchell, are quite struggling right now. And we've seen from Marley McCandless, as well as, a great saving play there
by Addie Pace. Maybe the young, I don't even know the words, the inexperience for the Vikings and just raw talent will prove to be the difference, as this is turning into quite a rally. Sorry to cut you off, Boston, as this is beautiful.
What even just happened?
Net touch called as we give you a second look. Wow. That was quite a rally, as in comes Marley Via. Little bit of the veteran leadership for the Vikings. The only non-sophomore player in on that last rally being Caitlin Stalder, as now Marley Via with Molly Mitchell, getting the block. Point Timpview at the end of the rally.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe the Vikings strategy of putting all the young guys worked, or young, you know what I meant, young people worked. Wrong word, but you get my point.
I believe illegal formation was called and brings a point to the Vikings, making it 7-16.
Whatever. I'll just work with it.
As Vikings making some substitutions, Lexi Brown coming back into the game for Addie Pace. But, sorry, as I was saying earlier, I think that the Vikings, their strategy with putting all these sophomores in is really just get them some playing time, some time on the court, and it has been working. They've seen that their experienced players in Lexi Brown, Tatum Nelson, and Molly Mitchell haven't been performing up to their standards throughout this first set, and they're looking to bring some fresh new talent onto the court, as we've seen with Dixie Warner and Marlon McCandless taking those spots, and it's really been working out for them. They have been some of the top performers already on this team this season, as hopefully looking to just bring something new onto the court, hoping that it works out from just these new players that have been doing what they're supposed to do and performing at an I can't speak
exceptional
English. Yes, that word. Level at this age and during this time, as we've seen throughout the past, since the start of the season, really, so the past 16 games now, that they really have been performing up to the level that they are supposed to. I'm being really repetitive here. But yeah, they're just doing an amazing job, and they're looking to bring other sophomores onto the court, hoping that they can perform to that same level that they have been.
And to continue off of that, we've seen it almost immediately in this game. The Vikings found a way. They had that beautiful rally earlier with all sophomores, with the exception of Caitlin Stalder, as into the game comes Adri Warren, another sophomore for the Vikings. And as I was saying, the all-sophomore and Caitlin Stalder squad, I'm going to call it, the sophomores and Stalder, if you will, managed to get that wonderful rally, as immediately Adri Warren with a spike giving the Vikings a point, now cutting the lead to 12, 20-8. And now the Vikings putting in Tatum Nelson and Marley Via on the front, along with Adri Warren. Adri Warren, either way. The serve sails up and out. But earlier, the Vikings, the sophomores and Stalder, managing to get a point with some beautiful volleyball. They put back in four seniors and a junior, and immediately Timpview could take advantage, as Marlon McCandless unable to get to the ball for a set. T-Birds 3 points away from taking the first, scored 22-8. Maybe the sophomore strategy was going to be what worked for the Vikings. Now relying on the veterans to keep them in this and get the first set back. Hard spike from the Thunderbirds. Livy Iyer on the spike, bounces off of Caitlin Stalder. That looked like it hurt when it hit Caitlin's arms. So we give you another look at it. The Thunderbird serve goes out to the left, gives the Vikings a point, and on will come Dixie Warner for Marley Via. As Dixie Warner really can't afford much other than, 16 aces? Or at least giving the Vikings 16 consecutive points, which is no easy task.
As cannot make the first one, as that brings the T-Birds to match point 24-9. This has been the biggest beatdown that we've seen given to Pleasant Grove.
You beat me to it. I was about to say a rare blowout for the Vikings. Hopefully, between the sets, they can talk it out and figure out what's going on and turn it around. So that spike sails up and out. As now, once again, the Vikings need 16 consecutive aces.
15.
Win by 2.
I forgot about that rule. I always do.
The win by 2 rule is a hard rule to remember. As Adri Warren's serve sails up and out. The scoreboard in the stadium is wrong. I almost said 29-10. That would be crazy, especially considering you only go to 25 in volleyball. Regardless, Vikings lose the first, 25-10.
Coming back into the second set, Vikings losing the first 10-25 in a loss of 15.
Rare blowout loss for the Vikings. As we saw in the first set, the sophomore surge giving the Vikings a little bit of hope. And then Timpview able to go on an incredible run as Caitlin Stalder to serve for the Vikings. First serve of the set is an ace for the Vikings. Gives them the lead 1-0. I believe it's their first lead of the day, which is even crazier.
To the right side, that one goes to the back, received by Lexi. Left side, Marley Vaya gets it over, back in one. Right side again, tipped. Caitlin Stalder is there. Addie Pace on the right side. Another right side attack. Marlene McCandless is there, and what a play. Gets tipped off the hands of a T-Bird and goes to the back left corner.
Now the Vikings up 2-0. Whatever adjustments were made, clearly proving to be working so far, as the seniors stepping up in the second set, as a spike by Tatum Nelson gets her the kill off of a set from Marley McCandless. Vikings now up 3-0, looking to keep the momentum going as the Caitlin Stalder serve goes into the net, gives the Thunderbirds their first point of the set. It's at 3-1. As I'm going to move the mic so I'm not blowing on it half the time I talk. Now the Thunderbirds serve from number 17, Mia Sanders. Hard hit from the Thunderbirds, gives them the point. I tried looking up who hit it, but I couldn't see the number in time.
I believe it was number 33, Isabella Baldwin.
Isabella be balling so far the second set. I had to do it, Boston.
I was going to say it last set, but
as the Marley Vaya spike goes into the net, we saw this come back to haunt the Vikings during the first set. It was consistently wayward spikes, not going where the Vikings wanted, giving the Thunderbirds a point. As the Tatum Nelson spike sails up and over, gives Timpview another point, making it 4-3. This is a lot like what we saw last set. Timpview not giving up. And now with the lead, looking to build on it.
To the left side, Marley Vaya brings it over. Received out to the right side, gets tipped and received by Lexi Brown. Middle to Tatum, into dead space, gets the kill and brings it to a tie match at 4 apiece. As Addie Pace will be subbed out, bringing in Dixie Warner to bring the serve for the Vikings. V's up on the Vikings side. As formation called, gives Vikings another point and gives them the lead, now 5-4.
The Vikings seem to be going into a softer version of the sophomore strategy we saw in the first set, as the dump over attempt by Timpview does not work. It gets denied by Tatum Nelson at the net. We mentioned it earlier. Tatum Nelson able to just standing reach over the net. A huge problem for Timpview on that point. Is now Dixie Warner back to serve again for the Vikings. As the serve goes up and out, gives Timpview a point, makes it 6-5 Vikings. As Lexi Brown comes into the game. The serve bounces off of Lexi Brown, almost saved by Caitlin Stalder on the baseline bleachers. Hits the seats and gives the Thunderbirds another point. Ties it up at 6.
Serve from the Timpview Thunderbirds. A dump over from Marlon McCandless, barely saved. Hard smack to the left, goes out of bounds, but barely gives Vikings the point as they take the lead 7-6. I'll bring up Marley Via, number 11, to the baseline up for the serve. I think Marley Via probably has the longest, like she's the furthest away from the baseline I've ever seen on a serve. Blocked by Marlon McCandless there, stays in and unable to be brought back over, now 8-6 as Vikings take another point.
We talked about it earlier. The sophomores today for the Vikings stepping up. Marley McCandless with a huge block. As you're right, Marley Via jumping from, if you're familiar with a basketball court, the end line of the volleyball court is a little bit beyond the free throw line, and Marley Via is jumping from the square in the paint.
She's jumping from the, like she starts her stride at the,
on the S in the baseline paint for the Vikings. Just a hard hitter and a huge asset, as the rare spike that does not get blocked back in the Timpview side from Tatum Nelson. It falls on the Vikings side and gives them a point, makes it 9-7 Vikings.
I'll bring it. Number 33, Isabella Ballin, to the line for the serve. Received by Marley Via to the left side. Lexi Brown, right tap over, gets denied, but goes out of bounds, gives a Vikings point, as that will bring them into the double digits, 10-7. As here's something you don't see very often. Number 44, Tatum Nelson, to the line for a serve.
I believe the first time we've called her name on a serve, quite possibly ever, at least for the first time all year, as we get an example of why serve sails way up and over. Marley Via with the serve receive for the Vikings. Hit over by Lexi Brown, hit by a Thunderbird, and gives the Vikings the point, 11-8 now. Ignore the weird way my voice just cracked. Point.
Number 18, Marley McCandless, to the line for a serve. Brought over and received by the libero to the middle. Received by Caitlin Stalder, right side, hard smack, cannot be received by number 20, Fayatoa. As that will bring the Vikings lead to 4, 12-8, as Marlon McCandless has another go at the serve. Right side, miscommunication, but still brought over. Tatum Nelson, or sorry, that's not Tatum Nelson. That one blocked by Molly Mitchell and Addie Pace.
Molly Mitchell with the hard spike earlier. Barely received by Timpview. And Molly tells them, no, do not give it back. Blocks it at the net, gives the Vikings a 5-point lead, 13-8 in the second set. Back now from the Thunderbird timeout. Vikings up by 5, 13-8. Marley McCandless on the serve for the Vikings. I feel like I cut that off really short. McCandless as now the Thunderbird spike hit at the net. Net touch called by Molly Mitchell, or on Molly Mitchell and Lexi Brown. It's now Timpview with the chance to cut into the lead more. Now only down by 4.
Left side, hard smack from Lexi Brown. Goes into the middle of the net and drops back for a Thunderbird point. Now 13-10 as Laylee Julander will get another go at the serve.
Formation called on the Vikings. Gives Timpview a point and cuts the Vikings lead down to 2. There's now Timpview looking to make it a 1-point game.
Left side denied. Addie Pace cannot make the play. Now 13-12. Laylee Julander going on a bit of a run here. Barely received. Caitlin Salter brings it over to the right side. Cannot be saved. Marley McCandless almost running into the net there. Cannot get a good set for Molly Mitchell. As the Vikings will take a timeout now as the Thunderbirds tie it up at 13.
Back now from the Viking timeout. Laylee Julander to serve for the T-Birds. Been on quite a run, tied the game up. Hard hit by Molly Mitchell, Lexi Brown for the Vikings. Goes right into the net as the Vikings repeating the issues they had in the first set. So many spikes bouncing off of the net.
As Molly Mitchell, number 7, with a hard smack, goes off the hands of a Thunderbird and back to the left corner as Vikings now bring it to 14-14. As that will bring number 17, Lexi Brown, to the line for a serve. to the right side and drops down on the floor, gives a Vikings ace. Lexi Brown with another serve, received to the left side, cannot be received by Caitlin Salter. A diving attempt, barely unable to make the play.
Serve received by Caitlin Stalder. Vikings barely able to get it over the net. Hard Thunderbird hit, finds dead space, gives them the lead 16-15. As Vikings, I don't want to use the word crumbling, but it's certainly not looking good. As just unforced procedure issues, I guess is what you would call them, for the Vikings have really being what let Timp come back into this game. As now Caitlin Stalder back, possibly the best choice to try and come back, and right as I say that, serves it right into the net, as we are experiencing technical issues. Now the Thunderbirds serve up by 1. Received by Marley Vaya, goes directly backwards and gives Tim another point, making it 18-16. As for the Vikings, not looking good, 4-0 in region. Really not wanting that streak to end now. Diving save attempt by Marley Vaya does not work. Thunderbirds up by 3, 19-16. As the Vikings call a timeout to try to work over what has haunted them with those procedural issues. Down by 3, 19-16 in the second set. Back now from the Viking timeout. Looking to turn the set around. Started off on a great run. Now letting it all slip away. Still down by 3. 16-19. Down by a set as a hard hit by Tatum Nelson cuts the deficit to 2. Makes it 17-19. Vikings really looking to start their offense right now. Dixie Warner back to serve. As for the Vikings, shockingly, the experience of the seniors not proving to be all that beneficial today. As a dump over by Marley McCandless, almost falls on the Vikings side, bounces off the top of the net and into Timpview side. Spike by Marley Vaya. as a Timp dump over hits the net and bounces in on the left side. As going back to what I was saying, the seniors I don't even know the word, the seniors not showing out the way that you would expect. The sophomores really being the ones that stepped up in the first set and almost got the Vikings back into it. Now Vikings needing 2 points to tie, as another rare moment, Marley Vaya back to serve. That serve gets hit by the Thunderbirds. Gets Marley Vaya an ace, makes it 19-20. We saw it earlier with Tatum Nelson going back to serve. Haven't called Marley Vaya's name that often on serves this year, if at all. Both players usually subbing out right before the rotation where they would be the server. Diving save by Dixie Warner, bounces off of Tatum Nelson, and Caitlin Stalder is unable to get there in time to keep it alive for the Vikings. Makes it 19-21. Now the Thunderbirds 4 points away from taking the second set.
A hard smack from Tatum Nelson there. A quick hit and a great point for the Vikings as
Tatum Nelson back to serve again. Today, just a unique day for the Vikings. It's the only real way you can put it. Marley Vaya and Tatum Nelson both taking, is reps even the right word at serve? As Tatum Nelson gets the Vikings a point, goes back again to serve. This has been some game. We saw it earlier with the sophomores being the ones to get the Vikings in. Then the first time Tatum Nelson took a serve, it looked like just a miscommunication. Caitlin Stalder not knowing she was supposed to come in for Tatum. Tatum's serve sailed up and over the first time, gets in the second time. It's now the Vikings down by one.
As that one from Lexi Brown smacks into the top tape and falls. As I mean this with all due respect, but Lexi Brown really hasn't been performing in these past couple of days. I know that at the start of the season and last year, she was one of the best performers, but in these last 2 to 3 games, she just has been very underperforming, as all of her spikes, her hits, and really just her performance overall has been dwindling, as spikes often get hit into the net or sail over, and there hasn't been much on that sweet spot to get many points on the board for the Vikings.
It's a set error for Timpview. Too much momentum after the jump set. Falls, and the momentum just carried her into the path of the ball as the Vikings get a point. 2 aces away from winning it, tied at 23. If both teams score again, it will be another, or not another, the first one wasn't, but it'll be a win by 2 situation in the second set.
As coming back from the timeout, 2 points away from taking it for both teams, as Marley McCandless comes up to serve for the Vikings. Marley takes a go, finds a good spot, diving save by Caitlin, as I'm unsure what was called there.
I believe either Lexi Brown stepped under the net when Caitlin dove, or Caitlin's hands went under after the dive. Either way, point Timpview, 1 away from taking the second set. Hard hit by Addie Pace.
As that was Lexi Brown, I believe.
Both teams know that Timpview a point away from taking it. Vikings not willing to let that happen. Win by 2 situation. Vikings tie it up at 24. Molly Mitchell with the hit.
As Lexi Brown will come to the line for the Vikings. Goes to the back middle, collected and brought over. Molly Mitchell with the hit over, going behind her head. Marley McCandless there with the reception. Addie Pace bringing it over to the right side, denied from Molly Mitchell and Addie Pace. Another try, Marley McCandless there. Addie Pace bringing it over again, as that one goes over, but barely, as that will bring the Thunderbirds to match point. No timeouts left for either team, as Thunderbirds will possibly take the 2-0 set wins. Serve is brought over, received by Caitlin, and cannot make the play.
Awkward reception by Caitlin Stalder off of the serve. Timpview winning the second set, 26-24, up 2-0 on the Vikings. Vikings looking to keep the perfect record in region alive. Back now from the set break. I said from. From the set break. The Vikings looking to avoid getting swept. Timp looking for the sweep. Would be a huge upset for the Thunderbirds, and for the Vikings, a huge letdown. Coming into this 14th in the state, undefeated in region to this point. Can the Vikings get the reverse sweep going? As now you need to win out. And Timp just needing to do what they kept doing. It's now Addie Pace, Marley McCandless, Molly Mitchell, Caitlin Stalder, Marley Via, and Lexi Brown out on the court for the Vikings.
As first serve taken by Mia Sanders. A diving save cannot be played on from the Thunderbirds. Brings Vikings the first point of the third and possibly final set.
Now Molly Mitchell to serve for the Vikings. Received by the Thunderbirds. Spike blocked at the net by Tatum Nelson and Marley Via. Addie Pace, hits her serve off of the top of the net. Team gets it over, and Marley McCandless diving save goes around the pole for a Thunderbird point, 1-1 in the third set.
Talia Fiatoa with the serve now. A quick hit from Tatum Nelson brings a point for the Vikings after a hard hit. As they will bring in number 19, Dixie Warner, the sophomore, for Addie Pace, bringing her the serve.
Dixie Warner serve received by the Thunderbirds. Sorry, Boston, go ahead.
Oh, good. Off to the right side, a hard smack received by Caitlin, brought over in one. Left side, Marley Via gets tipped, barely saved, brought over lightly to the left side. Marley Via attempt two goes up and out for a T-Birds point, brings them to a tie at 2 apiece. As I'll bring Isabella Bowen to the line. Received by the Vikings. Tatum Nelson brings it over to the right side. Lexi Brown there with the recovery. A quick dump over from Marlon McCandless. As that one goes up and out on the Vikings back baseline, brings them a point. Now 3-2 as Vikings take the 1-point lead after both teams going back and forth recently. As again back to the line, Marley Via, number 11.
This game full of weird circumstances and interesting decisions for the Vikings. Tatum Nelson and Marley Via both having 2 serves in this game. 2 more than they've had all year and possibly their entire careers as Vikings. And continuing with that earlier, the sophomore strategy in the first set, maybe time to consider going back to it. As diving save, Caitlin Stalder, Marley McCandless dump over, hit by the Thunderbirds out for a Viking point, making it 4-3. As on comes Molly Mitchell for the Vikings for Tatum Nelson as Caitlin Stalder goes back to serve.
Cannot be received by the Thunderbirds, brings a Vikings ace. I will always go back to this, but Caitlin Stalder has been has always been one of the best servers.
Every single time we give her the announcer jinx, Boston in shambles right now.
That was not great timing.
Wow, we've both done it today. Let's just agree to stop talking about it and hope that the Vikings can come back.
A hard smack from Molly Mitchell, misses from the Thunderbirds, brings a Vikings point, puts them up by 2, 6-4.
Interesting pattern from the Vikings. Addie Pace coming in for Dixie Warner and vice versa consistently at the end of the last set and so far into this one. Block at the net from Molly Mitchell and Lexi Brown. Gives the Vikings another point, makes it 7-4 for the Vikings.
Marley McCandless back at the line for her second serve. Brought over and received to the right side. Received by Caitlin Stalder. Lexi Brown cannot make it over for a Thunderbird point. Cuts the lead to 2, 7-5. As we're seeing Adri
Warren.
Audrey? Adri?
I just said Adri the first set. A-D-R-Y, but however you pronounce that, for the Vikings.
I, not a Y.
Same thing. I said I. I said A-D-R-I.
You said Y.
Same difference. Look, Y and I make the same sound, so it's not that big of a deal.
Okay, that's fair.
Now, Adri Warren back to serve for the Vikings. A softer version of the sophomore strategy earlier. Half senior, half sophomore for the Vikings. And more importantly, experienced seniors for the Vikings. Caitlin Stalder, Molly Mitchell, and Marley Vaya. Diving save, Caitlin Stalder. Marley Vaya tips it over at the last second.
Cannot be received by Adri Warner at the back line. Brings a T-Birds point, makes it 8-6. I'll bring number 17, Mia Sanders, to the line. Received by the Vikings to the left side. Marley Vaya hit is out of bounds for a Thunderbird point yet again. 8-7 as the Vikings only lead by 1. Mia Sanders with another serve, received to the middle. Molly Mitchell with the hit on the right side brings a Vikings point, now 9-7.
And back for the Vikings, huge defensive plus, number 44, Tatum Nelson.
Molly Mitchell with the serve, received on the back, on the right side, brought over. Marley Vaya on the left, off the arms and goes out of bounds, hitting number 20, Telia Fayatoa. I hope I said that correct.
Basically.
Brings the Vikings lead to 3, 10-7. As another serve from Molly Mitchell gets
Dump over attempt blocked by Marley Vaya.
Marley Vaya with another hit to Telia Fayatoa, goes off her arms and brings another Vikings point, as clearly spotting a potential weak point with their libero on those backline hits.
And just overall, I don't want to say bad, but unfortunate decision making. That spike was most likely going to go up and out until it hit her arms. Not the way that you want that to go if you're Timpview, now down 4, 11-3. 11-7. back from the timeout. Molly Mitchell to serve for the Vikings, as Vikings needing to win out the rest of the night, down 2-0. Serve sails up and out, almost hit by Timpview. Kale Ilani Kamaneo. For the fact that I didn't know I was going to read that a second ago, I feel like that was pretty good.
I am very impressed with that.
That could have been quite butchered. Hard hit by Tatum Nelson. Wow. That feels like that should have left a divot in the hardwood.
Sounded like a gunshot off her hand.
Wow.
Coming in, number 19, Dixie Warner with the serve. Vikings lead by 4, 12-8. As this definitely has been the longest time that Vikings have held the lead tonight. To the right side, received by Caitlin Stalder. Tatum Nelson, quick hit, gets another kill on the back line. Tatum Nelson showing some promise for the Vikings.
The Vikings looking to keep the run going, up 13-8, 12 away from winning it, or winning the set rather. Same difference.
As Dixie Warner comes back to the line for a serve, cannot make the play on it. Vikings get an ace. As Dixie Warner only being a sophomore and I believe being the third ranked for the most aces on the Vikings, being very impressive. As I apologize, she now dropped to 4th as Lexi Brown now leads. Molly Mitchell falling behind, and then Caitlin Stalder lower than expected this year, as we have seen the sophomores getting more play time behind the line with those serves. So it makes sense as she's not serving as much, so she's not getting those chances.
Vikings up by 7, 15-8.
After the early timeout, or early comeback after the timeout, Vikings in the lead by 7, 15-8. Dixie Warner with the serve to the right side, received, hit on the left, goes out on the right. A lot of changing directions there, but Vikings end out with the point. Now leading by 8.
The most important direction change for the Vikings is the way that this match is headed. Started off very south, turning things around very, very much going the right way now. As the Dixie Warner serve received by the Thunderbirds. Miscommunication between Marley Vaya and Caitlin Stalder on the spike receive. Falls on the Vikings side. It gives Timpview a point, 9-16 now. As Isabella Ballin, for the Thunderbirds with the serve, unable to be received by the Vikings. So the Thunderbirds starting a mini comeback of their own. Vikings really hoping to quell it before it can get out of hand and give the Thunderbirds the match. Hard hit once again by Tatum Nelson. Bounces off of the libero For the Thunderbirds, Talia Fiatoa sends Marley Vaya back to the line. We've seen this already twice today. We mentioned it earlier. Marley Vaya back deep on the serve. Started on the A on the baseline in the word Pleasant Grove. As the Thunderbirds getting something started. Spike blocked by the Vikings. Tatum Nelson and Adri Warren hitting it out on the block attempt. Timpview down by 6, 17-11. Number 31, Livy Iyer. Awkward received by Marley Vaya, falling to the ground by the time it hit her hand. Thunderbirds continuing the comeback. Vikings look like they might be in trouble in the third set.
Received by Caitlin. Dump over from Marley McCandless. Gets the point for the Vikings. Vikings now in the lead by 6, 18-12, as putting Caitlin Stalder to the back line for the serve. Comes over and received. Right side denied by Molly Mitchell.
We almost saw another Tatum Nelson serve attempt. Caitlin Stalder checked in. Not at the last second, but it was pretty close. Tatum Nelson was still high-fiving her teammates on the bench. Another decision issue by Talia Fiatoa, number 20 for the Thunderbirds, hitting a ball that was probably going to go out. Vikings point 20-12.
Caitlin Stalder with another go, cannot make it over the net, brings it 20-13. Vikings lead by 7.
Now the Thunderbirds serve after the serve issue from the Vikings, received by Marley Vaya. Hard hit by Molly Mitchell, recovered by the Thunderbirds.
A great dig there from Marley Vaya, ends out in a Vikings point after the dump from Marley McCandless. I swear, I'm going to get those confused at some point. I will say the wrong name.
There are 2 Marleys and a Molly on the court. We will mess up at some point, and we apologize in advance when we do.
Marley McCandless with the serve, received off to the right side, blocked by Addie Pace. To the middle, almost blocked by Molly Mitchell. On the left, Adri Warner gets it over on the right side, tipped off of Molly Mitchell. Marley Vaya is there. McCandless with the set, and Molly Mitchell gets the kill for the Vikings, bringing them within 3 of taking their first set win. Now 22-13 as they lead by 9. As this is what we like to see from the Vikings, a big lead, gaining some confidence, gaining some more traction on the court,
and really gaining it right when you need it. You cannot afford to lose another set if you're the Vikings. Thunderbirds will take it if that happens. Block, or I don't even know what happened. Blocked by Molly Mitchell. Spike from the Vikings going out. As touch called on Timpview, Viking point. Call changed on the court. The Timpview players objecting to the call as Marley McCandless back for the Vikings on the serve.
A little bit of miscommunication to the middle, received by Addie Pace. Addie Pace going for the spike as well. Diving save on the right side. Open space, miscommunication between Audrey Warner and Marley McCandless, as that falls for a Thunderbirds point, makes it 14-23. As coming up for the serve, number 12, who is unlisted on Max Preps.
Awkward receive by the Vikings. Caitlin Stalder and Marley Vaya fell into each other. Weird set and weird spike. Either way, Vikings recover. Adri Warren with the spike. Molly Mitchell missed timing the jump. Vikings with just an unlucky moment. Now their lead cuts to 8, 23-15. The Vikings need 2 points to win their first set. Can they get them before the Thunderbirds score 10? That sounds like a rhetorical question, given what we've seen from the Vikings so far this year. But given what we've seen from them today and what we've seen from Timpview, that is a very real question that if you're the coaching staff has to be burning in the back of your mind somewhere. It's the Adri Warren's spike hard. Go ahead.
Molly Mitchell not mistiming that one, barely brings it over on the left side, brings Vikings a point and 2 match point, now 24-16.
Molly Mitchell makes up for the missed. I had another M word and I lost it right as I went to say it.
Moment?
Molly Mitchell makes up for the mistake in the missed moment, gives the Vikings a point, brings them within 1. Serve sailing out for the Vikings. 24-17.
As coming up for the serve, number 17, Mia Sanders for the Timpview Thunderbirds. Serve is brought over, received by Caitlin. Hard smack from Molly Mitchell brings the point set for the Vikings, winning their first, now 2-1 to the Thunderbirds in set wins.
Molly Mitchell's mighty moment makes the Vikings have a 2-1 set deficit here going into the 4th set.
As starting out the fourth set, the Vikings have the serve. Number 7, Molly Mitchell to the back line. Received and brought over in 2. Hard smack cannot make the play. Vikings take the first point.
Tatum Nelson with the hard spike. The Vikings giving Tatum Nelson unusually high or unusually long sets. Typically, Tatum Nelson doesn't have to leave the cutout of the circle at half court unless she's going for a block. Diving save by Marley Via, called for a net violation after the dive. Tried to get back in time, couldn't. Thunderbirds get a point, 1-1. As I was saying, Tatum Nelson taking an unusually large amount of outside hits today, usually very much in the middle position, or in the middle area rather, of the court. Hard spike, knocks a Thunderbird to her knees. Spike received by Caitlin Stalder. Hard hit by Marley Via, as this is turning into a wonderful rally. The hard Tatum Nelson spike. Tatum Nelson block with the Thunderbirds thinking the point should have gone to them. Point ends up with the Vikings. Addie Pace and Tatum Nelson with the block. As something happened, I believe Tatum Nelson had a bracelet or something.
I believe it was a finger wrap that came undone, as we do typically see that on, I believe it's her ring finger. I could be wrong on that, but I do often see tape on one of her hands. But the confusion on that last point was the hit from the Thunderbirds was going out of bounds, and the Vikings almost blocked it, but it fell out of bounds, and they said that they didn't touch it and that it just fell out, as Marley Via with a hard smack on the left side gets tipped from the Thunderbirds and goes out, now 3-1. Dixie Warner back at the line for the Vikings. Received by the Thunderbirds off to the right side. Wide tap over, goes over Dixie's head and goes to the back line. Brings a Thunderbird point.
Miscommunication there for the Vikings. It looked like Adri Warren was getting ready behind Dixie Warner to receive the spike. Dixie tipped it out of Adri's reach. Gives the Thunderbirds a point and puts them one away from tying it.
Marley Via on the left side, received off to the right. Hard smack, goes out of bounds, but barely.
Timpview really disagreeing with the call by the
line judge on the back right corner.
I was going to say flag person.
Yeah, same thing.
Same difference.
Marley Via back at it again on the line. That one ends in an ace after it goes past Thunderbird arms and hits another on the foot.
I believe that's Marley Via's first ace of her career.
At least of the year that I know of.
Possibly her second. She might have got one earlier. Dump over by Adri Warren. Point Vikings.
As a double hit from one of the players on the Thunderbirds pushes the Thunderbirds to also take the first time out of the now fourth set. Don't know where I was going with that one.
Vikings up 6-2. Marley Vaya back to serve for the Vikings. Vikings up 6-2. Marley getting her first ace of her career. I believe that bounced off the face of the Thunderbirds player. Hard hit by Tatum Nelson. The two seniors that are typically on the front and sub out when they serve, when it's supposed to be their turn to serve. Coming in huge, Marley Vaya now going even further back than before, completely off the baseline of the basketball court.
That one tipped off of Marley McCandless' right hand, drops out of bounds for a Thunderbirds point, cuts the lead to 4, now 7-3.
If you're the Vikings, maybe it's just because of the way they've had to get to the ball, but the past couple of block attempts on that side of the court by Tatum Nelson have all ended with her angling towards that sideline. Maybe, I don't know how easy this would be, but maybe rotating a little bit to block it in and giving your teammates a chance to hit it. Not a criticism, just unlucky circumstances, giving the Thunderbirds a point, as now the lead is 4-7 for the Vikings.
Isabella Baldwin back to the line. Received by Marley Vaya. To the right side, Tatum Nelson, hard smack, but gets tipped and kills the speed. Received by Caitlin Stalder. To the left side, Adrian Warner gets tipped off the hands of the lead blocker, number 8, Janae
Namuleuti.
Sure, we'll go with that. I'm not gonna.
Janae Namuleuti, yeah.
I'm not gonna attempt it, but off of her hands, goes to the back. It brings a Vikings point.
Molly Mitchell struggling recently with the timing of her jumps into the spikes. Earlier, it was devastating to the Vikings, completely mistiming it, landing by the time it gets to where her hand was, and no one on the other side of where she jumped to catch it. They're jumping a little early, still able to hit it, but the timing issues for the Vikings could be big, as that spike lands in off of Adri Warren, as the Vikings lead back up to 4, 9-5.
Marley McCandless to serve for the Vikings. To the right side, hard smack received by Caitlin. Marley there back in time. Caitlin brings it back over. Back on the right side, Marley McCandless there. Miscommunication from the Vikings ends in a Thunderbird point. Now 9-6. Vikings retain the 3-point lead, as coming to the line being number 23, Saj Ko.
23 is Laylee Julander. Saj Ko, number 22 for the Thunderbirds.
On the right side, a light tap overrides the net, cannot bring it over, pushes the Vikings to double digits, 10-6.
Would have been devastating for the Vikings, for lack of a better word. No one was in the area of the court where that would have landed. Unfortunately for the Thunderbirds, not enough momentum to get over. Lands on your own side. As an unfortunate decision by Mia Sanders for the Thunderbirds. That serve was definitely going to hit out, and then she decides to dive and tries to hit it with her forearm. Gives the Vikings a point, puts it up to 5, 11-6.
On the middle, blocked by Marley Mitchell and Marley Vaya. To the middle, received Molly Mitchell brings it over to the middle. Caitlin Stalder there in time, cannot make a play on it. Vikings take a hard play on that, as we just saw Molly Mitchell get hit in the face with the ball after the play. As that will bring number 12, who's unlisted on max preps. Molly Mitchell, hard smack, gets blocked, gets the save, and Molly Mitchell, or
Marley Via,
there's too many M's.
Marley Via with the spike for the Vikings. Puts the lead to 5, 12-7.
Molly Mitchell with the serve. Received, brought over and one. Tatum Nelson brings the hammer down. That will lead the Thunderbirds to take a timeout roughly near the middle of the fourth set.
Vikings up 13-7. Molly Mitchell back to serve for the Vikings, 13-6, 13-7, up by 6. That was not an intentional joke.
A weird hit over Tatum Nelson, quick hit, goes up and out.
Almost hits the line judge in the corner. Makes it 13-8 for the Vikings.
Number 11 brings it over for the Thunderbirds. Fake to Marley Via, gets the kill. A great set there from...
Fake to Tatum Nelson, hit by Marley Via. Faked from Caitlin Stalder.
As Marley McCandless with the set there.
Something like that.
As
there's a lot of people involved
Tatum
on the play.
Tatum going up for it, goes over her head to Marley Via on the left side, and then gets the kill in the middle. That one tipped from Marley McCandless and number 44 Tatum Nelson to bring a Thunderbirds point, sorry. As that will bring number 20, Telia Fayatoa, to the line for the serve. Received by Marley Via. Number 44, Tatum Nelson, brings it over quickly for a Vikings point.
Marley Via back again to serve for the Vikings.
I don't know what's happening today.
Marley Via and Tatum Nelson never taken a serve in their careers as Vikings. Both getting several reps today. Marley Via with another ace, her second, possibly third of her career. All of which coming from this game. As, wow, this has been an interesting one. The all-sophomore squad in the middle of the first. The Vikings getting, no other word for it, destroyed in that same set. Coming back now, looking to tie it at 2 sets apiece. Point Thunderbirds makes it 10-16. Marley Via playing extraordinary volleyball right now. No other word for it. 3 aces today.
Tatum Nelson, a great save there. Brought back over from Adri Warner on the right side. Light tap over. Adri's there as well. Tatum Nelson, quick hit. Received from the Thunderbirds, right side. Dixie's there.
Something the Vikings aren't used to seeing very often. Tatum Nelson getting blocked at the net. Happening twice there on that last rally. The spike bounces off of Marley McCandless, and Tatum Nelson out of bounds for a Thunderbird point. Cuts the lead to 5 for the Vikings, 11-6. As back goes Isabella Ballin for the Thunderbirds. Say that 4 times fast.
Not going to try.
As the Thunderbirds almost save it. Goes around the pole and out for a Viking point. Makes it 17-11. Now the Caitlin Stalder serve for the Vikings. Brought over by the Thunderbirds. Marley McCandless with a dump over, finds empty space, gives the Vikings an 7-point lead rather, 18-11. I keep looking up after the scoreboard changes, thinking it's going to change again and doing the math to that in my head. Vikings lead by 7, 18-11. As on comes the unlisted number 18 for Timpview.
Caitlin Stalder with the serve, goes to the middle. Off to the right side, received by Caitlin McCandless. Adri Warner with the hard smack. Deflected by Adri as well. To her again with the left-handed hit, brought over in 1. To Molly Mitchell, a little bit of a mistimed jump there again.
Off of the face of Caitlin Stalder, hard hit. Wow. Ball sails out of bounds. T-Bird point and probably a major headache, literally, for Caitlin Stalder. Ball to the face does not feel good regardless of the sport.
Molly Mitchell with a hard hit, goes over the head of number 18, brings a Vikings point, now 19-12. As Addie Pace comes in for Dixie Warner, as number 18, Marlon McCandles, goes to the back for the serve. McCandless with the serve. Blocked by Molly Mitchell. Off to the left, received by Marley Vaya. To the middle, hard smack right at Marley McCandless. Gets the point for the Thunderbirds, now 19-13.
And for Caitlin Stalder and Marley McCandless, there's just nothing you can really do about those two spikes rather. As when something is coming at your face, your response is just to not let it hit you in the face, not where it goes after. Hard hit by, I almost said Addie Pace. Adri Warren gives the Vikings the serve and a 7-point lead, 13-20.
Adri Warner at the line now for the Vikings. Brought over and received. Set going to the back. Addie Pace is there. To the left side, Marley Vaya, light tap over. To the right side, hard smack. Finds the back line and brings a Thunderbird point. That will bring number 12 unlisted to the serving line to the middle. Molly Mitchell off the hand of a Thunderbird brings a Vikings point, now 21-14. Something has obviously changed for the Vikings from the first and second sets. Vikings really just needing to get their foot in the mud and really bounce back from it here in the third and fourth set. Sorry.
The Molly Mitchell serve leading to a great rally here by both teams. Marley Via, hard hit, sails up and out. 15-21 now for the Vikings. Needing to get 4 points to win this one, and then all 15 in the next set if it comes to that. Which, if you're the Vikings, you hope it does, and if you're Timpview, you hope to turn it around right now. Needing 6 points to tie, 10 to win.
What a save.
And with that, the Timpview supporters have made their presence known. Shockingly, more Timpview students here than Viking students, as the Vikings lead down to 5, 21-16. Marley Via, hard hit, finds the hardwood inbounds, 22-16 for the Vikings. Now on comes Dixie Warner for the Vikings. Vikings 3 points away from winning the set.
Dixie Warner's serve makes it over on the right side. Marley Via is there, bringing it over as well. Off to the right side again, hard hit. Caitlin is there. Marley Via on the left side. Set back to the right, tipped, and still there. Tatum Nelson, quick hit, gets the kill for the Vikings after a great rally, brings them within 2 points of match point.
The Thunderbirds with a couple of hard hits. Tatum Nelson says, I got a quick one for you. Puts the Vikings within 2, up by 7. Dixie Warner to serve again.
Received to the left side, quick hit, Marley Via says no.
Marley Via playing out of her mind right now in the best possible way for the Vikings. For Timpview, not what you want to see. Marley Via getting going right when the Vikings need it.
Received off to the right side, blocked. Can they make the play? They cannot, as Vikings take the fourth, 25-16. The reverse sweep has a possibility as we go to the fifth and final set, with this final set only going to 15 instead of 25. Now starting out the 5th set, the Thunderbirds will take the first serve. Number 17, Mia Sanders. As I said before, this 5th and final overtime set will go to 15 instead of 25. Left side, Marley Vaya gets a hard smack, cannot make the play as that one goes out of bounds from number 31, Ravia Airy. I am way wrong. All right.
Molly Mitchell, that's a name we can agree on. Back to serve for the Vikings. It would have been really funny if that was not Molly Mitchell, as I'm like, we can agree. Tatum Nelson spike blocked at the net. Another rare moment for the Vikings. Tatum Nelson usually really good at getting these spikes over the blockers because she can usually just reach past them. Tie game 1-1. Thunderbirds back to serve. Talea Fayatoa for the Thunderbirds.
Barely received. Marley Vaya making the hit over. Almost making a diving play, but killed by Addie Pace, accidentally hitting it back down to the floor as the Thunderbirds will take the lead 1-2 now. Talia Fayatoa with the serve to the right side. Addie Pace gets the hit over and received on the right side. Caitlin Starter gets the reception but cannot make a play on it as the Thunderbirds now take a 2-point lead into the start of the in the
fifth set.
Wow.
The Vikings, not the way that this set you wanted it to start, not how I wanted to word that either. The Thunderbirds a fifth of the way to winning it. Vikings needing 14 points for the reverse sweep. Hard hit sails out off of Adri Warren for the Vikings. Now, T-Birds up by 3, 4-1. As
this is nothing but a do or die situation for both teams, as the Thunderbirds coming into this game heavily unfavored, as they are way underranked compared to the Vikings, showing out an amazing game for the first 2 sets, and Vikings really coming back and striking hard in the 3rd and 4th, and then looking towards the Thunderbirds right now early into the 5th set, as they have made some amazing saves and great plays, as that one rides the net and looked like someone tipped it. Tatum Nelson thought so too. Judges do not say that a hit off of a Thunderbird player, calls a 4 hit on the Vikings, makes it 2-5 to the Thunderbirds.
The Thunderbirds serve going into the net. Vikings 3, Thunderbirds 5. As now, we've seen it before, Marley Vaya back to serve for the Vikings. 3 aces in her career, all of them from today. Can she make it 4? No, but that is a hard serve. As the Adri Warren spike sails up and out. Thunderbirds 6, Vikings 3. Thunderbirds 9 points away from winning it all.
Tatum Nelson, quick hit, gets deflected, still in play. That one a hard hit to Marley Vaya, cannot make the play, brings the lead to 4 as the Thunderbirds 7, Vikings 3.
Into the game for the Vikings comes Lexi Brown. Not fully sure, maybe just the age and experience being the difference. Lexi Brown, a junior, Adri Warren, a sophomore. Timeout Vikings, Thunderbirds 7 points away from winning it. 8-3 in the 5th set.
Thunderbirds having the serve in the lead by 5. A dump by Marley McCandless gets the point for the Vikings after a bit of a drought, now 8-4.
Caitlin Stalder back to serve.
That serve barely makes it over. Barely able to make a play on it as well. Hard smack from number 7, Molly Mitchell. Jumped early on that one. Doesn't matter. Gets the point for the Vikings. Cuts the lead to 3. Caitlin Stalder back at the line. Brings it over. Barely able to play on it. Marley Vaya is there in the back. On the left side, Lexi Brown up and out. Brings another Thunderbird point. Pushes the lead to 4 now towards the Thunderbirds, 9-5. As I will bring number 23, Laylee Jewlander to the line. Received by Marley Vaya. Quick hit. Kamali Mitchell cannot make the play on it. Hits the net and bounces back. This is a tough spot for the Vikings. As down by 5, Thunderbirds only need 5 to take the 5th set. That's a lot of 5s. Laylee Jewlander gets an ace.
Flies into the section of the stands where the volleyball team that was recognized between sets is sitting. Would have been funny had they counted it. Unfortunately, it does not. Gives the Thunderbirds another point, pushes the lead to 6, 11-5 in the 5th set.
Laylee Jewlander back to the line after the Vikings timeout, already using both of theirs.
Don't really have much choice not to. The Thunderbirds were on a roll. Molly Mitchell with another mistimed jump pushes the deficit to 6 for the Vikings, 7 for the Vikings rather. That is twice today, and neither time has it been on purpose.
Laylee Jewlander with the serve, received by Caitlin Stalder to the middle. Time to jump on that one for Molly Mitchell. Received by Dixie to her again. Makes it just past the Thunderbirds' arms. Makes it 6-12 and gives Vikings the serve back. which will go to number 18, Marley McCandless.
One of the better options for the Vikings in this situation. Down by 6.
As she picks up an ace there, Vikings now trail by 5. McCandless back at work, cannot make it over the front tape, drops down for a Thunderbirds point, only 2 away from taking the 5th and final set here.
The Vikings looked promising in the 3rd and 4th. Not seeing that same progress or much of the same momentum in the 5th, down by 6, 7-13.
As a hard collision between Caitlin Salter and Marley Vaya, as that one just fell out of the back line. Thunderbirds here with match point, only needing one more to take it and
pull off a huge upset.
Received by Caitlin Stalder to the left. Addie Pace brings it over, stays in on the right side, deflected, brought back over and one. Deflected again. White tap over on the right. Hard hit. Goes up and gets tipped off of the Vikings. Thunderbirds take it 15-7 and pull off a huge upset.
The Vikings taking their first loss of region play, dropping to 8-9 overall, 4-1. The Thunderbirds going up to 9-6, 4-2 in region. As for both teams, that was a special performance. The Thunderbirds in the best way, the Vikings in the worst way, as Pleasant Grove not really looking like the team that many have come to expect, finishing second in state last year. Now still with an opportunity to win, to win state. But man, this loss stings for the Vikings. As up next for the Thunderbirds, they will face Wasatch at home on Thursday, and the Vikings will face Spanish Fork at home at 6:30 on Thursday. Both teams actually swapping the opponents that they face next. The opponent in 2 games for Timpview, Spanish Fork. The opponent for the Vikings, Wasatch.
A heartbreaking defeat for the Vikings here, nearly coming back and getting the reverse sweep, losing the first set 10-25, possibly the biggest beatdown that we've seen ever on a Vikings court, on a Vikings volleyball court, so to speak. Losing the second one in a win-by-2 scenario, 24-26, and then coming back, starting out hard, 25-17, taking their first one, taking their second in a better match, 25-16, and then losing the 5th and final one, 15-7. Vikings had a serious option, or a serious chance and opportunity to get the reverse sweep, but failed out in the 5th. As we will see you on Thursday for Pleasant Grove here at home against Spanish Fork. This has been PJSN. I'm Boston Harding, joined with
Coleman Keel,
and we will see you later.